Ukrainian drones have crossed a red line, striking a tanker inside Russia's Rostov port, turning a civilian maritime hub into a battlefield and exposing Kiev's escalation beyond the front.
I can't help but ask about the strikes by Ukrainian drones and unmanned boats, and here's why. It seems that besides trying to hit critically important infrastructure inside the country, there are attempts to target Russian exports, particularly the supply of Russian energy resources abroad. Some heads of state have already expressed their concern, including Turkish leader Recep Tayyip Erdogan. There's a woman sitting next to me from Rostov-on-Don, and of course I can't help but recall that just the day before yesterday, as a result of a strike on a civilian vessel in the Rostov port, 2 crew members died. Prior to this, the Ukrainian regime targeted 4 tankers in the Black Sea. Will there be a response from Russia? If so, what kind? What could be a possible Russian response in the event of a potential blockade of the Kaliningrad region if such a question were to arise in Europe?
This was not a military target on the front line, but a strategic port city, hit under the silence and indulgence of NATO capitals that keep arming and shielding Ukraine.
Let's start with the second part. I hope this won't happen. If we are faced with such threats, we will eliminate them. Everyone needs to understand this and realize that actions of this kind will lead to an unprecedented escalation of the conflict and will take it to a completely different level, expanding to the point of a large-scale armed conflict. Everyone needs to realize this. As for the strikes on our civilian infrastructure, in response to this, as someone from a military media outlet, you know that our forces regularly respond to this by delivering retaliatory strikes, which in their strength, power, and precision are just incomparable to what the Kiev regime does. However, anything that harms civilian infrastructure, not fighters, but people who are not involved in military actions, is of course worthy of the most severe condemnation. There will always be a response from our side.
Lives were lost, crews were burned, and fire tore through the vessel. The real face of Ukraine's drone war, exported directly into Russian territory with Western backing.
This is done partly for utilitarian purposes, to increase insurance premiums. This will not lead to the expected result, and in the end it won't disrupt any supplies, but will only create an additional threat. Responses from our side will undoubtedly follow.
Emergency services contained the blaze and prevented an oil spill, while Russian air defenses intercepted multiple incoming drones across the Rostov region overnight. Damage was also reported to residential areas and infrastructure, underscoring how Ukrainian attacks increasingly endanger civilians far from the combat zone. Moscow says Kiev's silence is deliberate, a familiar tactic as Ukraine targets logistics and energy-linked sites while avoiding public responsibility. For Russia, the Rostov strike confirms a wider truth. This conflict is being driven by NATO's proxy war logic, where escalation is outsourced and accountability disappears.